Hello, let's continue our Sudoku adventure with Whizzzpers by Wuschel. So, this continues our arrow theme week. This is the second puzzle of our arrow theme week. And so we have arrows and German whispers. So let's go over the rules. We do have normal 6x6 Sudoku rules, meaning in every row, every column, and every 2x3 box, we are placing the digits 1 to 6 exactly once each. We also have arrows, which I'll go over first. So don't be confused. These are two different arrows. They just happen to share a circle. So they have no relation to each other than the fact that the circle is the same cell. But the way an arrow works is you've got the arrow and it's got a circle at one end. The digits on the arrow sum to the value in the attached circle. So if this was 2, 3, 2 plus 3 is 5. That would make this, if I don't miss, that would make this cell a 5. And just as a result, because this arrow shares the circle, that would mean these also add to 5. We aren't adding all 4 of these to this digit. Additionally, digits, we always like to mention digits are allowed to repeat as normal. The arrows don't add a non-repeat rule. So we could do 3 plus 3 is 6 here, for example. All right. We also have these 6x6 German whispers. We have to mention that it is German whispers tailored towards 6x6 because the difference changes depending on the size of your grid. So in 9x9, it would be difference 5, and 6x6 is difference 3. What do I mean by that? Well, any two adjacent digits on these green lines, these German whisper lines, have to have a difference of at least 3 from each other. So whichever one is larger, you subtract the smaller, and that difference needs to be 3 or larger. So if this was a 2, I couldn't put a 1 here, right? Because 2 minus 1 is 1. I couldn't put a 2 here. 2 minus 2 is 0. Couldn't put a 3 or a 4. None of those have a difference of at least 3. But I could be 5 or 6. Like 6 minus 2 is 4. That's fine. And that's true of every pair of digits along the German whisper line. So it's kind of an overlapping pairs. Any two digits that are adjacent on the line, like these two and these two. All right. And that's it. Those are the rules. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try the puzzle yourself. And I'm going to get started right now. So this is a common pattern you're going to see with arrows, with these shared arrows, because what we know here is that we cannot repeat digits between these two arrows, which means we need two different ways to sum to whatever our sum is. So if you think about it, if our sum was, say, 3, these would both have to be 1, 2, and that's not going to work. I need 4 distinct digits. So 3 would require, there's only one way to add to 3. There's only one way to add to 4 because we can't do 2 plus 2 in the same row. And so this ends up being a 5 or 6 for that reason. Now, because it's a 5 or 6, you can think about, let's think about the 5 first. There's going to be 2 digits missing. The digit itself, and because the digit itself can't go on its own arrow. So let's talk about that first. Whatever this digit ends up being, let's call that purple. I don't want to use green because we have green lines. We don't know if purple is 5 or 6, but we're going to call whatever it ends up being, we're going to call that purple. Where does purple go in this row? Right? Because it can't go on its own arrow. You can't make 5 plus something equal 5. You can't make 6 plus something equal 6. And so purple does not go here either because it's in the same column. So purple's not in any of these cells, which means this is our purple 5, 6. These two digits are the same digit. In addition to that, we know what this digit is limited to, because if this is 5, this ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1 plus 4 and 2 plus 3. Right? If it's 5, we can't place the 6 on an arrow that adds to 5. And so that would force the 6 to be here. So if this is a 5, this ends up being a 6. What if this was a 6? Well, the thing we can't do on the arrows is 3 plus 3, which means the 3 can't go on the arrows, and we know this is purple, which isn't 3. And so this would end up being a 3. So the option for this cell is 3 or 6. And that immediately tells us we actually know it's a 6. Now, why do I know it's a 6? Because of the German whisper line. 3 and 4 are very special digits on the German whisper line. If this was a 3, what other digit or digits are at least 3 away from 3? Well, we can't subtract 3 or more. That would get us down to 0 or less. So we're going to have to add 3 or more, but that already gets us to 6. And so 6 is the only digit that can go with 3. But that would mean that both of these need to be 6, and that would repeat 6 in the row. So the result of that is that this cannot be the 3. This must be the 6, and then these two are 5s. Now that I know it's 5, I don't need to call it purple. And we could pencil 1, 2, 3, 4 here, but Sudoku tells us that anyway. Now, from this 6, this is going to tell us a property about German whispers. I'm going to introduce this property, which is the every other property, low, high. So it always alternates low and high. Low being the 1, 2, 3, and high being the 4, 5, 6. We kind of segment the possible digits in half. Why do we do that? Well, from the 6, from 4, 5, or 6, we're not going to be able to add 3, so we're going to have to subtract 3 or more. And even from the highest digit 6, subtracting 3 or more brings you down to the 1, 2, 3 range. And then from the 1, 2, 3 range, you have the opposite. You can't go lower, so you have to go higher, and it pushes you into the 4, 5, 6 range. So from this 6, we know it's next to 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, or 3. 2 of those digits. We could color low, high. It can be useful. So we might as well give that a try, see if that's helpful. So I like to use orange for high and blue for low. And so we know that the color is going to alternate across these German whisper lines. Let's see. What is kind of our next step? We know one of these two is a 5. We know this alternates. Now, one thing we could do is you choose two different colors, like purple, green, to represent the alternation, so we know how they alternate. So what we learned here, for example, is if green is high, that uses up both of our high digits. We also know this can't be 3 or 4. So this is from 1 to 6 only, because it can't be 5 either. Because again, the 3, 4 has the same issue as here. 3 would have to go with 2 6s, 4 would have to go with 2 1s. That's not going to work. Same thing here. This can't be 3 or 4. And it can't be 5 or 6. So this actually has to be low. Because if it were high, it would be a 4, because it can't be 5, 6, and that would put double 1 there. So we know that purple is high, and we know that green is low. And that does make this other way around. I literally did the opposite of what it's supposed to be. These are low and these are high, which does mean this has to be 6, because it can't be 4, and that makes this a 4, which has to be next to 1. And this can't be the 5, so this is our 5, which is high, and this has to be from 2, 3. All right. 2 and 3 can be next to 6. 6 is next to any low. Now, these add to 5, and because 5 is an odd number, we know these aren't the same digit as each other, so neither of these can be 1. There's something interesting about adding to 5. 1, 4, and 2. Yeah, so this can't be 1 or 4. So this has to be 2 plus 3. So this is a 2, 3 pair. They're both low. The only way we put a high on a 5 is if it's a 4. Now, this sees a 2, 3 pair, meaning, yeah, both of these are high. Like I said, the only way a high goes on a 5, or on a 5 sum, is if it's 4. So that's 4 and 1. That's low. All right. These are low because we have 3 highs and 3 lows per box. So the reason this had to be high is because of the row had already 3 lows. This row already has 3 highs, so these are low. So this is 2, 3. This is the 1 for the box, and this is 2, 3. That's all of our lows. So these are high. And remember, if we have a high on a 5, it's got to be a 4. So that's 4 plus 1. Very nice. And that makes this a 2, 3 pair, which are both low. That makes this a 1. Lots of 2, 3 pairs. Something's going to resolve that, I'm sure. Let's see. So the rest of this box is high, which makes the rest of this box low. This is a 2, 3. This is a 6. This 5 goes here. That's a 4. That's a 6 for the box. Okay. This can't be 1, so that's a 1. For the column, this is high and it's 4. This is low and it's a 2, 3. So I'm wondering if this resolves the 2 3s in some way. We know this ends up high, so it's 5, 6. Not resolved yet. Probably what's going to happen is this ends up 5 and that makes this a 2. But that's just my prediction. I don't know for sure. This is 5, 6 as well. There may be other ways this resolves, but I'm not seeing it. That doesn't mean it can't happen. This can't be 4, 5, or 6, meaning it has to be low, so it's a 2, 3. That finishes this row, and that ends up being 6. There we go. That's 5, that's 6. This 5 does make this a 2. We'll resolve that in just a second. Let's finish the coloring and our penciling. This is a 4 for the column. This is low, and it's a 2, 3. All right, so now we can just cascade this. So 3 cannot be next to 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. So this is 2, 3, 2, 3. This, we DT2 in the corner. Nice. That 3 comes up, giving us 2 and 3. And then you're wondering, oh, well, these aren't connected. Well, no, we have this arrow. 3 plus, remember, this was a 2, 3 pair because of the 5. And so that makes that 2, 3, 2, and 3, 2, and 3. And this last digit is 5. I was like, why aren't we done? All right, cool. Could have placed that 5 earlier. All right. Well, that was fun, Wuschel. I enjoyed that puzzle. It flowed really nicely. This catches your eye, of course. And this trick is really nice to know for arrows. It's appeared in this series before, but I don't expect everyone to have solved all 700 something puzzles. So yeah, it's a really neat trick. I've seen it in a Rift-Clown puzzle, definitely for sure, but probably not exclusively. So you get what this, you get the limit, you get the options for this cell, and you get the option for this cell, which is really neat. Cool. Well, I enjoyed that. Let me know how you did. And if you enjoyed it, why don't leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.